Hey everyone, welcome to the E2 Effective Elders podcast. Visit us at e2elders.org and please share this good word with others.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to E2 Effective Elders, our podcast. And in this episode, we have the distinct privilege of welcoming Dr. Bruce. And Dr. Bruce is a Christian physician. He's going to be joining us at our Lead Well conference next month in March. And this is a great opportunity for many of you to get acquainted with Bruce before we hear from him on the main stage. Hey, Dr. Bruce, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Mhm.
Well, sure. I have been blessed to be a physician with my younger brother, Jim. We opened an office. Actually, I opened it first. I'm a few years older than he is in Greenwood, Indiana. And we both went to the IU School of Medicine. Um, Jim came out after 5 years, and at that point, we moved into our current building that we had built. Um, but we've been there for about 40 years in that building and
Hmm.
45 years from the time I started in Greenwood. When we first started practice, we did it all. We delivered babies and took care of young people and old people and tried to be what our patients needed.
Hmm.
And that's been a joy for us over many years. I had started to attend Greenwood Christian Church in 1972. My wife and I, my to-be wife and I,
Hmm.
we were attending at Franklin College and found Greenwood Christian Church to be our home, and we've been there ever since.
Wow.
And and so um, we lucked into a situation where there were some physicians retiring about the time that
Hmm.
I came out of practice. My practice filled very quickly, and so many of my patients are from Greenwood Christian and other surrounding churches.
Yeah.
I'm
And
blessed.
what's unique about you, in addition to being a Christian physician, you have served as an elder in the local church for many
Yes,
years, correct?
yes. I'm currently not in the eldership,
Hmm.
uh, but yes, I served for quite a few years, starting I think back when I was 30,
Hmm.
and so I have some firsthand experience about the stresses
Uh-huh.
of church leadership
Yeah.
and the sorts of things that people have to deal with.
Hmm.
So I am very empathetic with my
Hmm.
pastor friends. I take care of a
Yeah.
bunch of pastors
Uh-huh.
and their wives and their children. Uh,
That's great. Well, you are going to hit a home run at Lead Well from Within. Our conference in March has this target theme of asking each and every one of us, is it well with my soul as a leader in the local church, whether I'm an elder, whether I'm an elder's wife, whether I'm a spouse of a staff member, whether I am a staff member, whether I'm a key volunteer in the church, every man and woman serving Jesus has to ask the question, is it well with my soul? And we're looking at the interior world of a leader. So Dr. Bruce here is going to present a, a talk called A Christian Physician Looks at Being Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. Well, that psalm would be what, Dr. Bruce? Psalm
139 referring to?
139. And is that pretty important to you, that psalm?
Sure.
Mhm.
It's really important for people involved in the pro-life movement. You know, that's
Mhm.
the biggest evidence from the scriptures that God knew us
Mhm.
in the womb, that we
Right.
were a person in the womb.
Mhm.
That and perhaps Elizabeth's John the Baptist
Mhm.
leaping when he
Mhm.
heard news of the Savior.
Mhm.
So yes, important references there. We are
Mhm.
fearfully and wonderfully made, and in so many different ways.
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm grateful that you're going to unpack important elements of that as to how we do physically is integrated in how we're doing emotionally and spiritually, having been
Absolutely.
made in the image of God. Just to ask you a few questions, as a physician, what has struck you as the most awe-inspiring aspect of the human body?
I have to say that was delivering babies, childbirth, and
Uh-huh.
the transition from life in the womb to life on the outside. The
Mm-hmm.
whole process has got to be nearly a miracle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
80% of the time when a baby is conceived in a woman's body, that
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy is successful. When you think of the billions of cell divisions that have to occur just perfectly, and the transmission of genetic material both from the dad and the mama, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, how can that ever happen?
Uh-huh.
God creates a miracle every time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that has always been one of my favorite things. We stopped delivering babies when we got too old because I couldn't stay up all night and all day too. But that was a very favorite part of dealing with my
Mm-hmm.
patients for a lot of
That's
years.
great. Yeah, and I'm sure that you could lecture for hours, whether students in the medical school or elsewhere, about the uniqueness of the human body being beyond our words to even describe what God has done with this tent that we have right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something that amazed me in the manuscript that you emailed me that you're presenting was a quote, and that quote from one of your mentors made mention of that we are a soul with a body. Do you want to just give a little bit about that so that people will know the direction that you're going to be taking at the conference, please?
sure. Um, when God created us, He created a body which is not immortal,
Mm-hmm.
and He created a part which is immortal.
Mm-hmm.
It is immortal. And the spirit is the immortal part. We
Mm-hmm.
are the soul is the
Mm-hmm.
immortal part. We are a soul. We have a body.
Mm-hmm.
We are separated from it at death. Um, it'll be interesting to see what our body is like on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
the soul, and in the talk, I labor over how do we define a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Scriptures are a little nebulous, so
Mm-hmm.
um, essentially it is all the
Mm-hmm.
different things like our mind,
Mm-hmm.
our um, consciousness, our
Mm-hmm.
emotions, the spirit that God created in
Mm-hmm.
our bodies, the one
Mm-hmm.
that's uh, I think going to be immortal as
Mm-hmm.
part of our soul.
Yeah.
All of those things make up our
Mm-hmm.
soul.
Yeah. And how we think determines how we live. It's something I say all the time. How I think
Yes.
determines how I live. So if I think and I am convicted of, I am a soul with a body, I I had my identity established even at the moment of conception, and I'm eternal. So when I cease to exist physically, I continue to exist eternally. Every human being does. And it's through Jesus Christ that we can experience the best that is yet to come. Last breath here, first breath there. Paul says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So,
Amen.
in your
Amen.
manuscript also, you mentioned a dedicated Christian friend of yours who took his or her life. You don't mention if it's a man or a woman, but um, how do you process that as a friend, but also a friend of faith with this other believer?
Yeah. That circumstance was absolutely incredible. We'll call our patient Bob.
Okay.
Uh, I had known Bob for lots of years and cared for him as a patient for a lot of years. He and his wife and his family. He had had some disappointments in life, but he was a successful um, employee at Eli Lilly and Company. He ended up moving to Arizona. He had been treated for depression for a lot of years. Um, I mentioned in my talk that my daughter Valerie has inherited some depressive genes from me,
Mm-hmm.
and Bob was instrumental in helping her get through that. She was
Mm,
struggling with daily suicidal ideation.
mhm,
Um, and Bob, I think he gave her a couple books that were instrumental in
mm,
helping her to reset, and that with medical
mhm,
treatment turned that girl around. And
mhm,
I got to tell you, my daughter is um, a way better person than I am.
mm, mm,
She is dedicated to the service of Jesus.
mhm,
And I can only say good things about Valerie. She never had a time she wasn't good, but she had
mhm,
a time of adolescence, like many adolescents do, where they're struggling with trying to figure things out. And if the brain's not right,
mhm,
then the brain's not right. So
mhm,
here's Bob, who's helped my family member and has seemingly done well in life. And then with a job change, moved, I think it was to Arizona. And what happened after that, I don't fully understand. It seemed that for whatever reason, he stopped taking his medicine. And when your brain is physiologically depressed, it messes up your ability to think and do things right. And so even this Christian man ended up putting a gun to his head and killing himself out of desperation. It's hard for me to understand that. It was hard to
mhm,
process that.
mhm, mhm,
Uh, People wonder, well, does that mean Bob's in hell? Is he in hell because he killed himself? I don't think so.
mhm,
I think that was a mental illness. I think Bob was not in control of his mind.
mhm,
I
mhm,
think God takes that into account.
mhm, mhm,
Now, I can't guarantee that. The
mhm,
good book says, you don't kill people, even yourself. But
mhm,
but uh, but I think God will take that into account, and
mhm.
I hope to see him there.
Yeah. Well, and too, a lot of the thought that suicide is the unforgivable sin, that's taught nowhere in the scripture. The only unforgivable sin that is made mention, it's made mention by Jesus himself, and he says it is blasphemy of the Holy
Yes,
Spirit.
yes, yes.
And so we have to process that question. If I take my life, will God then not forgive me? We have to leave that in the hands of God. That is above our pay
God,
grade.
yeah,
That's
he
above our
gets to
pay
make
grade.
that decision. Yeah.
Yeah. And, even in my family, I had a grandfather on my mom's side that I never met. My mom was an only child. Why? Because her mother died giving birth
Oh,
to her.
oh,
Then her father, when my mom was 5 years of age, he took his life by
my,
hanging.
oh my.
He could not deal with the grief, the
Oh,
sadness, the sorrow. And uh, in that day and age, in the late 1920s, this would have been about 1929,
there
they
were
didn't
no good
have
treatments.
medications to be of
No,
help.
there were no
People
good
weren't
treatments.
treated like they are today to be assisted when they have suicidal ideation. And I'm I don't know if my grandfather had a moment of intimacy with Jesus Christ prior to that moment. And so we have to just leave that in the hands of our
Yeah,
God and
yeah,
remember that the scriptures say that God is slow to anger, he's abounding in love, and just leave that there. So,
yeah.
but that is very interesting that you make mention of this dear, dear friend of yours and the impact that he had to help your daughter. Now, you also in your talk speak very transparently about your own struggle with depression. And you, as a Christian physician, you're going to speak loudly and clearly into our lives at the conference. And so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but uh, you talked about making sure that you had uh, some kind of assistance to help with the way that you were thinking mentally, correct?
Yes, yes,
You want to
yes.
comment a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. Again, I'll tell about this maybe in a little bit more detail in March, but being a physician is a stressful and challenging
Hmm.
uh, activity, just like
Yeah.
being a pastor or an elder.
Hmm.
Um, and at age probably 28, 7 maybe. I was in my residency, so long hours, commuting from Franklin to Franciscan Hospital on the up in Beach Grove. Um, Going home one day, apparently had been a stressful day. I found myself thinking, the thought flashing through my mind, if I drove into this bridge abutment that's coming up on the right, I would escape all this.
Mhm.
I thought, wow, that's a suicidal thought. That
Mhm.
is not normal.
Mhm.
I had a number of other symptoms too, which I've been denying for a long time. But when that thought occurs, that is the icing on the cake that yes,
Mhm.
you're depressed and you need help.
Mhm.
Um, so back in those days, we did not have modern antidepressant type medicines.
Mhm.
They were all medicines that had a list of, I'll call them pesky side effects. They weren't
Mhm.
terrible side effects, but I decided I had to get some help. Within a
Mhm.
few weeks, my thinking was clear. Uh, the other symptoms I've been struggling with had started to abate,
Mhm.
and I came to the realization that that was me.
Mhm.
Now, there is hope that a single episode of depression and even suicidal ideation might be a one and done sort of a thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But for so many people, it is not.
Mhm.
Depression, when it's inherited especially,
Mhm.
tends to get worse over time.
Mhm.
And so my brother, who's my doctor, and I have continued to adjust medicines. If I
Mhm.
sense that maybe some of
Mhm.
those other weird side effects or
Mhm.
symptoms of depression are
Mhm.
needing a little help, we've
Mhm.
adjusted some medicines over the years. I've been on the same regimen now for probably 15. I think I found the
Mhm.
right combination for me.
Mhm.
And thank goodness we have modern medicines that have
Yeah.
helped.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate your transparency with that because it's going to be helpful to people, especially if they are in Christian leadership, wondering what's wrong with me. And to
Yeah,
know that a Christian physician is going to talk about we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and our physical body is intrinsically connected to that soul, that spiritual, that emotional, that mental
yeah,
part of our being. Yep,
yeah.
that's good.
There's all
You know,
sorts
if
of
this world of
there's all
ours,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say there's all sorts of physical connections to mental illness. It's
Yeah.
not just a mental list of symptoms. Many
Mhm.
of them are physical symptoms.
Mhm. Um, you know, physician assisted suicide is sweeping like a wave from country to country. And any thoughts on physician assisted suicide for those who, whatever, yeah, maybe they are terminally ill, they're in the final stages of a cancer battle, or they are struggling with Lou Gehrig's disease, or a deep, profound depression that just seemingly cannot be corrected? What are your thoughts?
I think a physician is not made to help people kill themselves.
Hmm.
I think that is not what God would have me to do.
Hmm.
Um, Especially like in a hospice setting. Do
Hmm.
hospice personnel um, sometimes knowingly understand that controlling that person's pain might result in an acceleration of the death? Well, they do, but their
Hmm.
attempt is not to kill the patient. Their attempt is to control that person's pain.
Hmm.
Um, One time, when I was in medical school, um, I did have an experience that kind of is related to this. I had come home and we lived in an apartment then. I pulled into the parking area, and my downstairs neighbor, his name was George. Uh, he was out in the breezeway between two sets of apartments, and as I walked toward him, we got to talking, and he says, "Hey, Bruce," he says, "where's your heart?" I said, "George, what's wrong? Are you having chest pain or something?" And he says, "Yeah, yeah." Uh, and I said, "Well." George, your heart is like right there, just to the left of the sternum. Is that where you're having pain? He says, well, yeah, kind of over that way. I said, George, you're in luck because coronary artery pain is actually more of a pressure right in the middle of your chest.
Mhm.
It's not right over your heart. And so that's probably some pleurisy or chest wall pain or whatever.
Mhm.
I didn't think anything else about it. Within the next 2 weeks, George was found in his car a block over with a bullet hole right there. And
Oh,
he was asking,
mm-hmm.
how do I do this?
Yeah.
And I was too obtuse to figure it out.
Well,
So no, I'm not going to.
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to help somebody commit
Right.
suicide.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're almost out of time. Why don't we land the plane with a question that all of us are really going to be hanging upon at the conference, and that is about our soul, our spiritual health, our well-being. Is it well with your soul? How do you keep your soul well, Dr. Bruce?
Well, I I am in the scriptures. I taught Sunday school class to what started as young couples and ended up being middle-aged church workers uh, for about 20 years, and have recently just we disbanded that class so they could go and do their own thing in ministry or in service. Uh, but a lot of study, a lot of teaching, um, worked hard in the scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I attend church because I need all the help I can get.
Mm-hmm.
I need the encouragement of my pastor and
Mm-hmm.
other teachers and the fellowship of Christian believers. Um, Penny and I, and my wife and I, belong to a small group that's probably the oldest small group at Greenwood Christian Church. We've been meeting since about 1975,
Mm-hmm.
so a long time now.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have invested in one another's lives, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like family to us now. The other way I try to keep my soul healthy is I love God's creation,
Mm-hmm.
and I spend a lot of time in the woods. I like to
Mm-hmm.
hunt morel mushrooms
Uh-huh.
and like to garden.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me a sense of um, how God loved creation as
Mm-hmm.
can create some things out in our garden. I've got some bonsai trees I like to fool around with. And that's an important part of allowing my brain
Mm-hmm.
to stay current on my needs for neurotransmitters.
Mm-hmm.
The inherited depression would exhaust them too much if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take time to rest, to not overdo.
Mm-hmm.
I go to bed early to bed and early to rise.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I try to make sure that my soul is
Mm-hmm.
well.
Good. Excellent. Well, we're going to really be blessed by your presentation next month. And folks, if you have not yet registered, you can just simply go to e2elders.org, click on events, and there's both information about the conference Lead Well from Within, but also the registration. Super simple. Hundreds have already registered for this gathering, and it's on Friday, March 13, Saturday, March 14. And it's at Mount Gilead Church in Mooresville, the west side of Indianapolis. Their website is mgchurch.org if you just want to get an idea of what it looks like at Mount Gilead and where Mount Gilead is. Would love to have you come. Your registration includes 2 meals as well. So you get a big bang for the buck. And more importantly, you're going to be with hundreds and hundreds of church leaders. And we're all going to be taking an introspective look and ask ourselves, is it well with my soul? So, Dr. Bruce, thanks for helping us out. We look forward to seeing you on stage and at the conference next month.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.